Welcome back, Be Better Tribe. This is your host, Julian. This is the podcast where we explore stories, lessons, and leadership journeys that have helped shape who I've become and some of the guests that I've actually had on. But this episode is a bit embarrassing. It is one of those stories that's real that I didn't know if I wanted to share, but why not? We're doing this. And so if it can help other people, if it can help individuals to be a little bit more financially responsible, then kudos to them. And hopefully people will take this in whatever walk of life, wherever you're at, they'll take this as a turning point, or just be like, damn, Julian's an idiot for doing that. So I wanted to share this story because I think it's important. I think it's important to walk through it and talk about it. I think it's, again, one of those that you probably and hopefully should be able to learn from. So let's get into it. First, I want to give kudos to my dad because he's always given me amazing financial advice. The financial advice my dad gave me was always live within your means, save for a rainy day, and don't spend your money on material things that are trying to um, trying to make trying to make yourself look good for others. I think that's like one of the big statements that he made. But again, my dad was extremely financially responsible, and he was somebody that I looked up to, who actually really was, you know, I like he was somebody that I could ask for in terms of financial advice. And so I really, really did learn a ton from him, but I made mistakes. And some of the things that I did that were extremely dumb, whether it was because I was young or it was just I didn't educate myself. And I think that's like the big thing is like educating yourself on like the way in which like money works, and um, how you can maximize investing, and how you can really think about setting yourself up for the future, and just being a little bit more diligent about understanding like your financial situation. And I always think about what like how school didn't teach us or didn't focus on this aspect, and I thought it was always a big miss, and I still think it's a big miss. However, I like there's so much knowledge out there that that can't be the excuse. I could have asked questions and I could have been a lot better where I was, and I just allowed myself not to. I just would made poor decisions, and it really impacted me in the future. Luckily, things are going really well right now, but it's just one of those things that I wanted to share some of the decisions that I made to kind of, again, allow you to laugh, make fun of, or just be like, damn, that sucks. And so let's start off. So the first thing, I was at a company. I was at a company for, gosh, how long was I at a company? I was at a company for 9 years, Mind Body. I don't know why I'm not sharing it. But I was at a company called Mind Body to start my career. And at Mind Body, I was able to invest in 401k. I actually was given like RSUs and options and stocks that before the company went public were extremely valuable for me. But the kicker was I actually left Mind Body after, I believe it was, call it like 3.5 years from what I remember, maybe 4 years. I left there. But when I was leaving, I had these stock options and I had 401k. So I had these options, and then if anyone's worked for a company, you'll know that they give you these stock options within the hopes that the company is going to go public. But really, they weren't worth anything unless the company went public. But little did I know, the company did go public in the future, and I lost out on a lot because what happened was So I was getting ready to leave, and the company offered to buy back my stocks. And of course, because I joined so early, my stocks were at a really low value, and they offered me, a good amount more than what they were worth for me. And so I was like, yeah, let me take the quick money. So I didn't sell all of them, but I sold a good portion of the stocks. Let's call it like on a 5x multiplier of what I got it. So just for simple math, let's say I got it at a dollar. That means I sold the shares for $5 back to the company. Um, and the thing about it at that point for me, the reason why it was a mistake was because I didn't need the money, and I also didn't take that money and invest it. So I just took the money, and God, who knows where that went. But it's gone, and it's a learning lesson, because that $1 that I got the share for, and I sold it for 5, eventually went public, and it was over $25. And so like it was a big learning lesson for me, that although it was amazing, I had other shares. It was that first bucket of shares that I got when I first joined the company that I call it like I blew it. I wasn't smart. And here's the reason why I'm sharing that is because if you're at a company that has that, talk to someone, talk to a financial advisor, talk to somebody that has been in that situation prior, and make sure that you are making the right decision for yourself. Make sure you're making the right decision for your long-term outcome of a company. But it's just, I think the reason I'm sharing it is because I took a nearsighted look at a potential long-term gain. And if I would have taken the long-term gain approach, I would have made, and I would have been in a lot better situation. Okay. Second thing that I did at that same time, which is an absolute moronic idiot thing to do, is I had my 401k, and I was investing heavily into it as a younger individual. And my dad always instilled that, like, invest in your 401k, max it out. And I was doing that earlier on. But the idiot that I am, so when you leave a company, your 401k provider, you usually roll it over into something else, or you continue to work with them. So I really didn't know the situation. I didn't talk to anybody. I freaking took the penalty and got a check instead of just rolling it and keeping it. So I paid additional taxes on it. I could have kept it in the 401k account, but I was a freaking idiot. And it was a dumb mistake because, again, two situations. The last one, I cashed out the money. I didn't know where it went. And then this one, the 401k, I cashed it out and didn't know what I did with it, and I didn't reinvest it. And so, like, those are two examples where if I educated myself, if I took the long term approach, I would have been in a lot better situation. But again, I share it because those two situations where if it's all about educating yourself and it's all about thinking about the long term, which I didn't do, which was a complete big miss and a mistake on my end. Okay. 2018, I moved out to Arizona. Luckily enough, I had the cash where I could put a down payment in on a house in Scottsdale, Arizona. It was a prime location, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, recently flipped with a pool. It was down in South Scottsdale, and it was in 2018. So right before the run of really how these properties like value just skyrocketed. So in 2018, I was in a low mortgage, and it was a great house. So I lived in it for about a year before I moved, and I even kept it after I moved. So I was like, okay, the idea was I was going to keep it and try to keep it as an Airbnb. There's two things that I didn't realize that I should have really thought about. One is the tax implications that I could have done with some of the tax codes for with an Airbnb and a rental property, and how beneficial it is. And then the second thing is the management that you have on your houses. So I had a poor communicating property manager who just didn't seem like he cared. And that was on me. I didn't do enough research. I didn't get references, and I had a bad property manager. And so what happened was those first 2 years, I did rent it, and I was not making a ton of money, but I was paying the mortgage, which is all I really wanted to do because it was an investment. However, once the air AC unit needed to be replaced, I just threw in the towel and said, okay, I'm selling it. Luckily for me, the market went up over those 2 years where I did sell it for a profit. But looking back, the mortgage that I had it at, the tax like positives that I could have kept with it, and just the whole value of the property that I could have taken loans out on it. I could have just been a lot more intentional. I sold it and I missed out. It's now selling for, gosh, dang nearly double what I bought it for. And again, it's one of those lessons that I thought short term. I was not willing to take on the headaches. And it was just one of those things where I made a mistake again of not being willing to think about the long term and maybe make some different financial situations to allow me to keep that house with my wife with my wife. Like we both lived in it, and we talked about it, and we just agreed that we should sell it. And it was just one of those things where it's like, gosh, what a mistake! It was a great property to keep. And now I still go visit there, and I'm like, geez, that would have been really nice to have. But anyways, those three things of financial blunders that I did are rooted in a very common theme. It's not educating myself on like taxes, on long-term investment strategies, diversifying a portfolio, and things of that nature. So what I would recommend, I am not a financial advisor. I don't pretend to be. As you can see, do not follow my financial advice, but I wanted to share that because, again, it's a lesson that I had to deal with and learn that really affected me. Again, like stuff happens, we make bad decisions and we bounce back. But those are the three things that really um, I'm thinking back and would have made a different decision. So number one, selling company stocks at a low. When if you believe in the company, if you're at a company early on, and there's a long-term potential gain that you might get from it if you just hold tight. That's one. So I sold those stocks. Number two is the 401k. What was I thinking? Like that was a bit idiotic, stupid move for me. It should have just been a couple phone calls, roll it over to a new account, just do a little bit more education, just thinking quick win, give me that cash now. And then the third is the Airbnb in Scottsdale. If I really would have been methodical and thought about it and really taken the short-term financial hit for the long-term gain, that would have been really smart for me. So again, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't pretend to be, but I wanted to make sure I shared those so that y'all can, learn from that. If you're in that situation, or if you just want to be like, damn, you're an idiot, that's totally fine too. But before we go, I wanted to make sure I gave some guidance or people that I have started to follow that I believe in their investment advice, or at least the framework that their investment advice comes from. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't even know if they are, but I follow them on Instagram and I find the messages resonate with me. I guess that's the best way to put it. Don't listen to your friends about crypto or anything of that nature. They know who they are if they're listening to this, but it's fun. But I guess that could be like the if you have the money to invest in some more riskier invest, then maybe listen to your friends. But haven't won on that front yet, so we'll see if that pans out. But who I would recommend to follow to just get some ideas to diversify how you're thinking about investing, which is he's a very conservative investment strategy person, but I do think it's the right way to think about it, especially if you're starting off. It's Dave Ramsey, and his 7 steps are: number one, save 1K for emergency fund. So 1K for emergency fund is number one priority. Number two is paying off credit card, car loans, and any high interest loans. Number three is save 3 to 6 months of expenses. So if you spend $5,000 a month on expenses, save 15,000 at least, up to 30,000 of expenses. So have that rainy day fund. Number four is invest 15% of what you make into retirement. Number five, if you have kids, save for your kids' college. Number six is pay off your house. And number seven, just continue to build wealth and give back. So that's his 7 steps. I love the emergency fund, the paying off high credit card debt, saving the rainy day fund 6 months is what I would recommend. And then the investment in retirement, college funds, all of that is just conservative investing, but it really helps the long-term game for you. So Dave Ramsey is someone that I would say that is a good foundational piece of like, if you're just looking out, that's what I would follow. The next one is Braden Shaw on Instagram. I think he's starting to get into some tax stuff. He's starting to get into some things of that nature. But I do think a lot of his stories and what he's investing in and how he's investing makes sense. He talks about like investing in energy sector ETFs. He's talking about just different IRAs to invest in. He talks about like some of the tax codes, some of the ETFs that he bought in 2026, VOO, VTI, SCHD, QQQM, QQQ. So those are just some of them. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, follow him. But again, just to make it very clear, I'm not a financial advisor. As you can see, again, from what I shared, do not follow me. But some of the journey that I've been on. There's also a bunch of books that I've read. Richest Man in Babylon is a great one. What other ones that I have? I can't think off the top of my head, but there's plenty of financial literacy books that you can read that I think would kind of create that framework that you would need. But again, they don't teach us in school. So take it on. I mean, it's something that we all have to understand and build around. So if financial investing and that's your jam, then go into it. But again, I would say at the very least, those 7 steps that Dave Ramsey outlines is a pretty good place to start. All right. So with that said, again, you could always reach out 831-471-7888. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or things that you want to chat about on the podcast, give me a call, leave a voicemail, or send a text message. I'd love to interact. So 831-471-7888. Reminder that we do have gear on the website. If you'd like to buy some gear, net proceeds will go to a charity of choice. Again, there's been a couple orders, but I wanted to make sure I always share that because I think it could go to a great cause. So again, if you want to interact, go ahead and reach out. But as we wrap up, thanks again. Learn from my mistakes. Hopefully you took something out of this conversation. But always remember to wake up smiling, enjoy the ride, and always be better. Over and out.